and welcome back to my channel. Today I had my sister come in and I did this holiday makeup look on her. It's a cool smoky gold toned look and then we just finished it off with a red lip, which is kind of perfect for any holiday event that you have. So if you want to see what I did, just keep watching.
Okay, let's get started. First things first, I'm priming her eyes with Mack's Painterly Paint Pot. Jennifer is a lot more dry than me, so she doesn't have the issue with her eyelids getting oily. But it's always important to use a primer on your eyes so that your eyeshadows will stand out more vibrantly and will also be more blendable, and a primer will do that. Next, I'm going in with Benefit's Porefession. I'm just putting this primer on her chin and nose area. Jen's a lot drier than me, so she didn't necessarily need this primer. She probably would have been okay with just one, but I think it's always safer to prime with a kind of a long-lasting primer on the areas of the face that tend to get a bit more oily. So I'm just taking this primer and really blending it in, making sure that everything is ready so that the foundation will lay nice and smoothly. And then I'm going to go in with the Mercier Radiance foundation primer on the rest of her face. Again, this is a holiday look, so just kind of for a Christmas party, just for a night, so it doesn't need to be super long lasting, but this foundation will give you a nice glow or a nice dewy look. And because the whole thing is going to be a nice gold look, it's definitely important to have really glowy skin, so this foundation primer is really good for that. So I'm just blending it all over her face and then down onto her neck. Then I'm going to go in with Mack Wedge eyeshadow. Wedge is a great cool toned blending eyeshadow. Today our look was a lot more cool toned, so I started with this color instead of with Kid. So I'm just taking the Wedge on a Mack 242 blending brush, and I'm just doing small circles in the outer V of her eye, and then I'm bringing it in up into the crease, just being nice and sloppy because this is just our first kind of transition color, and then we'll go in with darker shades. Next, we're going to go in with the color Cork by Mack, again on a 242 brush. This is also a cool tone shade, and it's just a little bit darker than Wedge. So I'm doing the same thing, just little circles on the outer corner, then dragging it up into the crease as I have less product on my brush, just to kind of create a really blended effect. Then I'm going to go in with the color Charcoal Brown by Mack on a 217 brush. I'm packing this a lot more tightly into the bottom corner, and then as I'm bringing it up into the crease, I'm keeping it a little bit lower because this is a darker shade. Jennifer has a really nice almond shape eye, so I'm really emphasizing the outer V so that it gives it a really exaggerated almond look, because she does have that great eye shape. And then I'm going to go in with Woodwinked by Mack. This is my all-time favorite shimmery color from Mack. It's a really pretty gold color, so I'm taking that on a 242 brush. It's seriously so beautiful, so blendable, so buttery, so I'm just kind of packing it all over the lid, pretty much all over her whole lid. Jennifer has nice big eyelid space to work with, so I'm just spreading that all out so that it's nice and gold and shimmering. And then I'm just taking a little bit of Cork and blending everything out to make sure that everything is nice and smooth and seamless. Then I'm going in with Blacktrack by Mack, and I'm using a Mack 209 brush. It's a really thin straight brush because Jennifer has a bit of a hooded eye, so I like to have the tiniest line of eyeliner so that you can still see her eyeshadow. I don't like the eyeliner to cover up all the eyeshadow that we did. Thankfully, I got a new Blacktrack Fluidline, so this went on a lot smoother than the last time. Next thing I'm going to do is curl Jennifer's eyelashes. I'm just using a Mack lash curler. Jen really hates it when I do this. She's really scared that I'm going to pinch her, but thankfully things went off without a hitch this time. Then I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Colossal Volume Mascara. For my first coat, I always use this one. I think it makes them get really voluminous and thick. And then I'm going to go in with a second mascara to just try to lengthen everything out. So the next thing I'm using is the Maybelline Lash Stiletto, and just giving a second coat on both of her lashes. Before I go in with false lashes, I'm using the Mack, I think these are 34, maybe a 36, I'm not sure, they weren't in the right case. And I suck at doing them, so they're on, yay! Okay, then I'm going to go in with Mack's Prolongwear Foundation in the color NW13. Jennifer is just as pale as me, so I use the same foundation on her. I'm taking it and spreading it all over her face just with little dots, and she did have a little bit of a breakout on her chin, so I'm making sure that I get a lot down in that area so that it's nice and covered. I'm going to be blending this out with a Sigma flat top kabuki brush in the number F80. This I think is my favorite foundation brush. I like it so much I got one for Jennifer and my mom as well. I just think it gives such an airbrushed look to your foundation. So I'm just going around and spreading this out all over her face, just in little circles, and kind of spreading it out. And then I'm going to make extra attention around her chin, bringing it down to her neck, and then also along her hairline, because Jennifer is also fair like me, so I want to make sure that she doesn't have any harsh lines of foundation anywhere. And then because she was having a little bit of a breakout, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pat my brush into some foundation and then just tap it along. You just want to pat it instead of spreading it on the areas where you are having a little bit of an outbreak, because spreading it won't cover it up as well. Patting it out so that it still looks nice and airbrushed and not cakey, but patting helps to kind of build up the foundation a little bit more so that everything is nice and covered on the areas that you want to be covered. I really like this flat top brush for when I'm covering up breakouts like this, because I think it just pats really well but makes sure that things don't get caked up. And then I'm also again going to make sure to get her chin and bring it down her neck so that she has no harsh lines. I have no idea what concealer this is or what color. I've had it for so long. It's most likely an NW15. It's a little bit of a thicker concealer from Mack, and I'm just taking it and patting it on the areas where she was having a bit of a breakout. You definitely want to pat this concealer on, because that will make sure that it actually covers the areas you want to cover up, and you're not just kind of spreading it around your face. And just keep patting it until it's nice and blended and isn't super obvious, but is covering up what you want covered up. Next, I'm going to go in with the Prolongwear Concealer in the color NW15. Also for Jennifer, if they had a lighter color, I would use it, but they only have a 15. So I'm just putting this on in her under eye area. She doesn't really get dark circles, but I still like to cover it up, and also doing the inner corner just because she is fair, to make sure that she doesn't have any blue there. That would take away from the eyeshadow. And then I'm just blending that out with my beauty blender. If you use a beauty blender, you want to make sure to get it damp first, put it under the sink, fill it up with water a bunch of times, and then squeeze it out and dry it just kind of on a hand towel. The beauty blender is great because it does add a little bit of extra moisture, but it also blends out your concealer to just such an airbrushed look, and it makes sure that you don't have any caking or creasing. I always use the pointed end because it just really gets in under the eye. Then I'm going to go in with the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the color Moonstone, and I'm just going to kind of dab it on the tops of her cheekbones. And then I'm going to go in again with my beauty blender with the fatter side of it and just blend out that liquid highlight. Especially for the holiday look, it's nice to have a really dramatic highlight, so I wanted to have the liquid first, and then later I will go in with the powder. Then I'm going to go in with the Mack Prep and Prime Translucent or Transparent Powder, and I'm using a Sigma tapered brush. It's the F35, and I'm just kind of blending that out under her under eye to set her concealer and also to set her liquid highlight. I always kind of tap on the powder first and then go in after and spread it out by blending it. Then I'm going to go in with the Mack Mineralize Skinfinish in the color Light, and I'm going in with a Mack 187 Duo Fiber Blending Brush. Jennifer is quite dry, so she doesn't actually need her foundation to be set with a powder, but I prefer to set it just so that it makes all the other products blend more nicely. And I find that this brush just gives like a really light layer, so it prevents her from looking dry or flaky, but it does set down a powder so that the bronzer and everything else will go on and look more blended, and it won't just kind of sit on the foundation. Then I'm going in with the Mack Aphrodite Shell bronzer. Sorry, that was upside down. And because this is kind of a holiday like night out look, I decided to go for a more structured contour. So I'm taking a NARS Ita brush, and I'm not actually going to blend it out with a bigger brush, and I'm just kind of taking it right in her jawline. I had her make a fishy face for me so that I could find her cheekbones and just get it right in there. I'm just kind of putting it right underneath her cheekbones and then blending it lightly with this NARS Ita brush. And then I'm also going to take it along the top of her forehead to make sure that everything's even and balanced. But again, I'm just taking it on this Ita brush so that it's a little bit more contoured and structured. Then I'm going to go in with the Mack Prism blush. This is my favorite neutral blush, and because I was doing a bit more of a dramatic eye and lip, I wanted to make sure that it was neutral. I'm taking that on a Mack 119 brush, and I'm just making sure to really blend her blush in with her contour. Because I didn't blend it out with a fluffy brush, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't a harsh line between her blush and her bronzer. But then I found that there actually was a little bit of a line, so I did end up going in with a fluffy brush and just kind of binding the two together. Then I'm going to go in with the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the color Opal. Opal's a bit more dramatic, it's a bit darker, and so I went in with that one today for this holiday look, just tapping it along the cheekbones with a Mack fan brush. It's a number 184, and then I'm also bringing it up the sides of the face because it is a little bit more of a dramatic look, so I'm giving it a more dramatic highlight. Then I'm taking Woodwinked on a Mack 212 brush and just bringing it super tight under her lash line. And then I'm going to take this pencil brush, I think it's a Mack 119, and the color Cork, and I'm just blending out that Woodwinked and Cork together so that it's a nice smoky look underneath the eye. Now it's time for my least favorite part, brows. They're a little bit easier on Jennifer because her brows are so thick and full and dark that there isn't too much work for me to do, but I'm going to be using an Anastasia Beverly Hills brush in the number 12. It's one of the double-ended brushes with a spoolie on one end and an angle brush on the other end, and I'm using Mack Espresso eyeshadow just to fill them in. So just brushing everything out with a spoolie and then kind of going through the lines just to make sure that they're even and nice and dark all over, and then brushing it through with a spoolie to make sure that I didn't add too much. I use the brush straight as I'm doing the tail, and then I kind of turn it sideways and just rub it in to fill in the front area of her brows. Her brows are really thick and really dark, so it's not very hard to make them look good, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was nice and even, and then I'm going to go over them with clear brow gel. Next I'm going to go in with Mack Vanilla eyeshadow, and I'm going to take a Mack 228 little tiny brush, and I'm just highlighting under the brow bone lightly and also in the inner corner of her eyes. Then I'm going to line Jennifer's lips with the Mack RiRi Woo lip liner. This was a limited edition lip liner that came out with the Rihanna collection, but you might still be able to get something similar. I don't know if they have a Ruby Woo one or not, but this is just a nice blue-red lip liner. And then I'm going in and just kind of lining the outside of Jennifer's lips to make sure that everything is nice and super precise. And then after I go in and make everything precise on the outside, I'm actually going to drag it in all the way onto her lips so that everything is super even and there's a really good base for her lipstick. When you're doing a bold lip, you want to make sure that everything is super crisp along the lines because your lips are going to stand out a lot, so you don't want them to look kind of sloppy on the outside, which is why I always prefer to use a lip liner for a bold lip as well as a lipstick. And then I'm going to go in with Mack Ruby Woo lipstick. This is a retro matte, and so it's really drying, so it's really important to prime your lips first. Jennifer had her lips primed with the Bite lip mask in just the original one, and it's a great hydrating lip mask to use before you use this lipstick. Then I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is Jennifer's favorite part of getting her makeup done. She doesn't usually wear makeup, so she loves getting the spray. Then she's going to very dramatically take down her bun and requested specifically that I do it in slow motion, so I'll give her her moment here. And that is our finished look. So I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial on the holiday makeup look, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks, bye!
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this holiday makeup look. You don't have to use the colors I used, use anything that you want to help recreate this look. Thanks to my sister for being my beautiful model, and we'll see you if you want to see more holiday makeup looks. Stay tuned. Bye! Say bye, Tara. Bye! Bye! Bye!
me like Baywatching, like ready to
put that in for sure. Coming up soon.